State Senator Steve Stottleman introduces a bill Wednesday designed to eliminate gaps in protection that would leave survivors of domestic violence and stalking without enforceable safeguards. Senate Bill 3044 would ensure an emergency order of protection remains in effect until the final order of protection is served. Under current law, after a judge grants a final order, the emergency order initially granted is no longer in effect. Senate Bill 3044 awaits action from the Senate.
This bill will mean protection for victims of abuse remains fully enforceable and protects survivors from dangerous loopholes and paperwork timing. The intent is clear. Domestic violence victims deserve protection all the way through the process.